Hi guys, today I'll be taking a look at a community favorite tactile switch, the Boba U4T. Let's get started. Now, the Boba U4T is the non-silenced counterpart to the Boba U4 which came before it. And according to switches.mx, the U4 in the name stands for Euphoria, and the T stands for Extra Thok. We'll see about that later on. Now, in terms of pricing, these go for around £12 for 10 switches on AliExpress. Yes, these are very expensive, but as we'll find out later on, it's actually worth that price, believe it or not. And this is what they look like when disassembled. Feel free to pause the video. Now, let's move on to the switch categories. On-center key presses are extremely smooth with zero scratchiness. Off-center key presses are also smooth, not as much but still nothing to really complain about. The only slight issue I had was with the switch installed in my M key, which happens to be the scratchiest, but it's not that noticeable. Overall, these are very smooth and very consistent, 8 out of 10. Now, according to the manufacturer, these switches have a bottom out force of 62 grams, but they are also available in 68 gram weightings. Now, I can't say anything about the 68 gram version, but in terms of the actual key feel, these remind me of the Cherry MX Clay in terms of weighting, but these are much more tactile. So much more tactile that I can't believe it took ages for this to hit the market. Additionally, unlike the MX Clear, these don't have any pre-travel, so the tactile bump is right at the top of the key press, which I happen to prefer in this case. Overall, I've had no issues with how these are weighted. They're perfect. For me anyway. However, I will say that these are on the heavier side, so I know it's not for everyone. But man, I love these. 10 out of 10. Now, sound is an interesting one because it's not exactly thocky or clacky. It sounds like it's in between the two. I mean, sure, it's closer to being clacky due to my case, but I'm gonna let you guys take a listen. 8 out of 10. Now, take a listen and enjoy. Now, as you can probably tell, I had such a fun time typing on these. Yes, it's mainly because of the weighting, but don't forget that these are also very smooth. It's to the point where I can say that lubing these isn't necessary, unless you're doing that to change the sound. That's how good these are. Now, comparing it to other tactile switches, I would say these are competing with the Durock T1 and the Acco CS Lavender Purple, but these perform slightly better in most cases. That's big plus points from me. However, it does have one massive downside, and that is switch chattering, especially the switch installed in my spacebar and backspace key. They chatter, which is super frustrating. Now, I didn't notice this issue during the first few days, but it became a lot more apparent from day 4 onwards, and it got progressively worse during my testing period, especially with the spacebar key, and I have no idea why. It could just be a bad batch, but who knows. All I'll say is this, these switches aren't cheap, and this really shouldn't be happening considering their price. It's an issue I would expect from budget or even mid-tier switches, but definitely not in the high-end space. This is unacceptable at this level. Overall, despite that issue, these are still great switches to type on, and it's something I can see myself dailying, to be fair with you. But if you're planning to buy them, just buy some extras just in case. 8 out of 10. Now, you might think typing was the weakest point of the Switch, but it's actually gaming. These are just a little too tactile for my taste when it comes to fast-paced games like Team Fortress 2 or Osu. However, when playing slower-paced games, the tactility didn't bother me at all. Now, it is great at one aspect, and that is consistency, especially in the smoothness department, which is exactly what you want when playing video games. And even at stock, these are mighty impressive. Still, I wouldn't pick these as gaming switches per se. That's just me though. Overall, these are far from the worst options for gaming. I'd say this is actually a good option if you're looking into heavy, actually tactile switches. But personally, it's not at the top of my list. 7 out of 10. In conclusion, yes, these are expensive, but yes, they also outperform most switches below its price point, so at least in my opinion, these are worth their asking price. The final score for the Switch is 41 out of 50 or 82%, beating the Durock T1 overall. That's mighty impressive, guys, I'm telling you. And that's the end of the review. Next time I'll be looking at another highly rated tactile switch. Until then, take care and goodbye.